Hi there, I'm Talon from Continuity, and you're watching the Vintage News.
Live from Calgary, Alberta, it's the Vintage News. With your host, Tom Hoover.
Today we have two stories about two companies, each going through a tough time, Pandabuy and Bidstitch. Unless you've been living under a rock, you may have heard about Pandabuy and the recent drama surrounding the company. If you're unfamiliar, Pandabuy is the app where you can easily buy products from China, and they claim to offer purchasing, warehousing, and shipping services all across the globe. But what Pandabuy is most known for is reps. Short for replica, reps are counterfeit versions of items from large brands such as Nike, Balenciaga, Gucci, and Louis Vuitton, to name a few. Thanks to platforms such as YouTube and TikTok, in the last year it has exploded in popularity. In just 2023, Pandabuy made over $5.4 billion in revenue when converted to USD. Naturally, this very high number piqued the interest of brands that were being repped the most, and on April 11th, 2024, the entire situation reached its boiling point. Warehouses were raided, employees were arrested, and lots of personal information has been leaked. Raids are nothing new in the world of counterfeit manufacturing. In fact, they're nearly a yearly occurrence. This raid, however, was very different because of the 16 different brands that pursued legal action for copyright infringement against Pandabuy, with the biggest one, you guessed it, being Nike. Understandably, Nike has taken significant action to ensure Pandabuy's demise, mostly because of the sheer volume of fake Nike sneakers being sold through the app, with Dunks being the most popular. Nike has since filed a lawsuit naming over 100 distributors of reps, demanding that they shut down completely, pay Nike 3 times the amount that they made selling these reps, destroy current inventory of the counterfeit products, and reveal their suppliers. So Nike can take further action to shut down the supply chain. This is on top of the lawsuit that Nike had filed against rep sneaker YouTube influencers Sadaz and Nicholas Tunenberg for owning and operating a website and Discord server that facilitated the buying and selling of counterfeit sneakers. In total, more than 200 public security branch officers, 50 private sector investigators, and local police were involved in the Pandabuy raid that resulted in the arrest of over 30 employees and the seizure of millions of packages. The Chinese firm Cantup, which specializes in intellectual property protection, stated that after a 6-month investigation, it became apparent that Pandabuy's illegal operations stretched across 5 different cities with over 2,200 employees, and that one warehouse's total square footage was the equivalent of 20 football stadiums. It was also reported that over 200,000 pairs of counterfeit well-known brand sport shoes were seized. But this is only the tip of the iceberg, as on top of these crippling raids, the data of millions of Pandabuy users were leaked as well, including email addresses, full names, IP addresses, phone numbers, and physical addresses. Luckily, it seems like the only thing not compromised in the leak were users' payment details. But it sounds like that softens the blow, because items that were being stored inside Pandabuy warehouses have been seized and will likely be destroyed by local law enforcement. Fast forward to a month later, and this has left some users with thousands of dollars worth of items in storage feeling very anxious, hoping that their items weren't seized. It seems that Pandabuy is offering refunds for items that were seized, but after the leak, the app was heavily locked down, removing the ability to top up your balance, and orders in transit being canceled, making some users wary of returning to the app, especially after having their personal information leaked. The general consensus among the rep community is that TikTok led to its demise, with Pandabuy hauls quickly gaining lots of popularity on the app, to the point that Pandabuy actually gave out discount codes for influencers to include in their videos. Many of these users have since deleted their accounts, seemingly to avoid legal action from the 16 companies pursuing action against Pandabuy. Other people who have simply joined the Pandabuy server on Discord have received strikes on their account with fraud being cited as the reason. While Pandabuy is most known for counterfeit clothing, another wildly popular item on the app is AirPods. For significantly cheaper than authentic Apple AirPods, the AirPods available on Pandabuy connect just like the real ones and come in nearly identical packaging. But this has led to a different problem altogether. Facebook Marketplace has seen a massive increase in the amount of brand new AirPods being listed, with many people purchasing them only to find out later that the headphones they set their hard-earned money on were fake. The manufacturers of these fake AirPods had even gone so far as to use a genuine serial number so that if someone were to go to Apple's website and check the serial number, they'd show up as authentic. But due to the obvious problem that this poses, a lot of the fake AirPods have the same serial number. Besides the obvious moral qualms that one may have about this, it is also very illegal and part of the reason that Pandabuy was raided. Ultimately, what this all boils down to is selling counterfeit goods is illegal. And while Pandabuy themselves do not manufacturing items or technically sell these items, the app allows anyone to purchase and ship counterfeit goods without ever leaving the Pandabuy app by directly paying the company. In other news, Bidstitch, the popular vintage repost page, has recently gotten themselves into hot water, posting and then quickly deleting this meme relating to Palestine. The meme states, "Flee Palestine," with a picture of Palestine with Bidstitch's logo over it. On the post, people were quick to denounce Bidstitch, asking them why they would post such a thing and asking them to delete it, which they did quickly thereafter, but the follow didn't stop there. Accounts like Arsenio Hall were quick to post screen caps of the post documenting the mess step made by Bidstitch, with his comment section and DMs absolutely blowing up. But why did Bidstitch decide to make this post? To answer that, we have to dig into the history of the company a little bit more. Bidstitch originally started as a marketplace, believe it or not, and was founded by London the Tisha and Drew Heifetz, a well-known name in the vintage community. The original pitch was to have a subscription-based selling platform where you paid no fees on sales, simply paying a monthly amount to sell on the platform. In an effort to gain traction on the platform, content was created on their website and social media. It was around this time that the Vintage News and myself were brought onto the company. Other vintage personalities like Taryn the Thrift Lord and other vintage personalities were brought onto the company at this time. My experience was mostly positive at the beginning, and it was a fun time to be involved at the beginning stages of something we believed in. A few months in, word came that Bidstitch was looking for investors, and it appears that multiple pitches were created.
We are looking towards growth. We are looking towards scale.
With one being successful. Most of the investor capital seemed to go towards programmers who were working on the marketplace that always seemed to run into complex problems. During my time working with them, I was never paid, though they did provide travel to go to Rose Bowl to create content, and they provided me with some gear to upgrade the current Vintage News. As time went on, it began to be apparent that the vision of the company was shifting away from the marketplace and moving to become the complex news of vintage, as Tisha proposed. Eventually, I decided my time was better spent working on my own things, and I parted ways with Bidstitch. And after a few months of asking, I was eventually paid for my time with the company. Following this, the company seemed to devolve into simply a content factory. Memes, videos, and small articles seemed to be the focus of the company, and if I were to speculate, this is when Drew Heifetz also left the company. While Bidstitch does produce content, like documentaries on things like the Durango Vintage Festivus, which oddly enough is on the Ezzy Live YouTube app, more on that later, their primary focus seems to be reposting and repurposing other people's content and doing interviews. They do have a second account as well, called Bidstitch 2, which posts other people's vintage finds in the wild, which is kind of a copy of Community Come-Ups or the Vintage Awards. In my opinion, this is emblematic of Bidstitch's effort to make content. While they try to be the complex muse of vintage, they have somehow become the doing things media of vintage instead. Bidstitch 2 is a copy of the Vintage Awards. Their interviews are a vintage version of the Got Soul TikToks. Their post layout is a copy of Complex's post layout, and most egregiously, years after the Vintage News moved to YouTube, they hired someone else to do the exact same thing on their Instagram. This unoriginality is all a symptom of the meme that they posted about Palestine. The company only has one decision maker, and that person is London Tisha. You'll likely see his self-deprecating comments in the Bidstitch comment section, flaming Bidstitch for its content. He's essentially doing the Eminem 8 Mile bit over and over again. But with no oversight due to the lack of employees and management, these poor decisions go on unchecked, whether it be insensitive memes or poor content strategies. Since the meme has come out, people who have worked with Bidstitch has since renounced the company. Sean Witherspoon, the folks at ThriftCon, and many others have either publicly made statements about not working with them any longer or unfollowed the account. Bidstitch is also listed as an official partner of Easy Live, a live streaming selling platform similar to Whatnot. Now, no word has come yet on if the partnership will end, but our guess is that Easy Live is a big part of how Bidstitch is still functioning. According to PitchBook, Bidstitch has received funding twice in 2021 and 2022, and leaked DMs have shown that they have received $300,000 total. Now, if nothing has come in since 2022, and there seems to be no apparent revenue source for the company, we can hazard a guess that Easy Live is paying Bidstitch for promotion in some sort of way. So cutting off that stream could be the death knell of the company. Atisha has released an apology on the Bidstitch account, but no actions have been taken to appease people who were offended by the meme. Here at the Bidstitch News, here's the Vintage News. We have begrudgingly enjoyed some of Bidstitch's content. It's really cool to hear stories from people like 4G Seller, Outlaw Archive, or Don Rock about their collection and how they source and how they sell. But the content farm and the tech bro attitude of Atisha seem to turn us off from most of their content in the long run. That's all for today's episode of the Vintage News. We appreciate you watching all the way to the end, and we'd really appreciate it if you could subscribe to the channel and like this video. I'm signing off. This is Tom from Continuity. I'll see you later.